start by offering a quote from Albert Einstein, and I love this quote. He said, "Reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one." Right? And so we have been deeply programmed, as Reverend Jones so beautifully said, to believe that reality is what we can see, what we can touch, what we can taste, what we can feel. But guess what? That's not reality. That's the illusion. The reality is the invisible realm. What is the invisible realm? The invisible realm is God's substance. And the issue for most of us is that we have been deeply programmed to believe that we're not that. And we've also been deeply programmed to believe that God has a personality. Or that we have been created in the likeness and the image of God, which is true. But the issue isn't knowing that. The issue is that we believe or we imprint this God idea in our image. In other words, we believe that there's this God that wants or doesn't want, that judges or doesn't judge, that loves or withholds. God as Santa Claus. Right? Because I remember being a little kid and hearing, you better watch out. He knows if you've been naughty or nice. And I remember thinking, wow, what we're being taught about, and I was pretty young. What we're being taught about Santa Claus and what we're being taught about God is pretty much the same thing. I believed somehow that I lived in a limited universe and that I needed to be good in order for God to give me something. I lived in the paradigm that I needed to ask or pray or beseech because God had a personality. But what if God isn't personality at all? What if it's not about us channeling God's energy, but we know absolutely, as Reverend Jones so beautifully said, that the universe is abundant, that the universe is infinite, and that is exactly what God is. And the only issue is we believe that we're not worthy of our own infinite possibilities. So the only thing that's preventing me in this moment, or preventing any of us in this moment, from living an enlightened life, which I'm going to define in a moment, is a belief that we are not enlightened. So what is enlightenment? It's to know the truth. And to know the truth can happen in an instant, or it can take a lifetime if I choose for it to take a lifetime. So let me ask you this. Would you like it to take a lifetime? Because you have a choice. And it really, people will often say to me, do you really think it's that simple? We all know what I'm going to say next. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because there is one. There is one power and one presence, and it's infinite possibility. And it's not channeling through us. It literally is us. I'm literally a perfect expression, a perfect emanation of the one. That is really different than saying, God, please bring me. God, please give me. And as we know, as Reverend Jones so beautifully said, that gratitude is an activating technology that helps us know the truth. It doesn't mean that we move into gratitude so we can shift the vibration and attract something different to us. It's gratitude helps us know the truth. And the truth is that we are one with the one. And that's the only truth. The rest, I would say is static. And I like the term static because as I look around the room, some of us are old enough here to remember radios. I don't know that they exist. Do radios exist? Reverend Joseph still has one, right? So, what's a radio, right? A radio is you turn the dial and you hear static, boom, and then you land on something. And when you land on something, you literally pick up the frequency that's, I remember thinking, wow, what is that? Where is this? Where is this thing that's music or talking that when we tune into, we hear? Ashe. So every song that's ever been written is alive in the energy field right now. Every thought that's ever been thought is alive in the energy field right now. Every feeling that's ever been felt is alive in the energy field right now. Where are you tuning into? What frequency are you? And there's some static clarity. We know in the quantum field now that when we call it something, it becomes what we call reality. It doesn't mean we manifested it, everyone. I want to be really clear. We tuned into that which was already here. It's all available. Where am I putting my attention and my intention? So in the words of the beloved Reverend Michael, and I said this last week, that abundance is simply breaking the agreement we have made with mediocrity.
Yes.
So what's mediocrity? Mediocrity is not me. I don't deserve this. Because here's the bottom line. I can only possibly step into the life that I believe I deserve. And that is only true 100% of the time. 100% of the time. I'm not worthy of quite of that. So as we talk about our comfort zone, I didn't grow up in a family that didn't talk about lack. I grew up in a family that talked about it constantly. There's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough. And I have an interesting story. My mom watches often on Lovestream. My dad, I know, never watches, so I can talk about him right now. What I didn't know is that he was putting half his money into investments. And later on, I'm like, where did this school teacher come up with this extravagant retirement with the 2 houses and the trips and the... I'm like, how did this happen? Well, what happened is he took half his money and put it into investments. Very smart on one level. Very, very smart. The issue, though, was what showed up in the energy field was there's not enough because half of it is being saved away. But we weren't told that part. So I guess there was something we weren't talking about. Actually, there was a lot we weren't talking about. A lot. Wow. I remember being a little kid and thinking what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what people are, how people are acting were 3 totally different things.
Yes.
So one of the greatest gifts from that, I took a personality test some years back and it said I'm highly attuned to the motivation of others. I am highly attuned to the motivation of others because I had to figure out what was up. So perhaps I come a little bit naturally to the recognition that the 5 senses aren't reality because I knew that wasn't reality. But I can also recognize that I picked some of it up. As a matter of fact, I picked a lot of it up. I picked up a belief that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't good enough. I picked up a belief that there was something fundamentally wrong with me and that in some way I wasn't lovable. And so I set out to seek all of that from the world. I'm not lovable, please love me. I'm not worthy, let me achieve and achieve and achieve so that I can feel worthy. So what if the only movement that needed to happen in our lives is a dedication, as Michael said, to break the agreements we have made with mediocrity. The programs so what was it like being your gender growing up? What were you taught about that? What was it like being your race growing up? What were you taught about that in words or in the energy field? Wow, I was taught all kinds of things about those 2 alone. Right? It wasn't so much what was being taught to me. It was what I decided was true. And those things that I believed to be true, I took into my unconscious or my subconscious, and I literally put a container around the infinite possibilities of my life. That's the comfort zone. I became really comfortable with I'm not lovable. Really comfortable. So I was walking around with this I'm not lovable shell that was around my infinite possibilities. And when someone would come in and act other than that, what would I do? Repel it. There was no other possibility. If I believe I'm not worthy of an abundance of finances, when opportunities come my way, I will literally say, oh, no, not me. No, thank you. Usually not conscious. I usually have a story about it like one more time. I thought this was going to be different. Nothing in the outside world will ever bring you the deepest knowing of the truth of who and what you are. Nothing. And then the greatest paradox in my life happens when I make that shift and recognize that I can break the agreements with mediocrity. I don't need to develop my God essence. That is who and what I am. And when I remove those barriers, and I'll quote Michael again, Dr. Michael Beckwith, he says we need to become intimate with our true nature. And when we become intimate with our true nature, we naturally shift to how do we express that in the world? How do I express this in the world? Do you hear that big shift? Not what can the world bring me so that I can feel whole and complete, but now we know I have an intimate relationship. What is an intimate relationship? Into me, see, right? So if I'm having an intimate relationship with the divine essence, that means I'm open and available and listening and sharing. Wow. Everything I've been taught about God was just about the opposite of God. We've imprinted our own limitation. Imagine for a moment the universe. Imagine all the stars in the universe. Now imagine that you draw a circle around, let's say, 5 of those. Does that mean the other ones don't exist? It simply means that because I've created this circle, that's the number I'm able to see. Now imagine expanding for a moment and seeing 7 or 8. Does that mean the infinite number of planets and stars don't exist? No. I've now outgrown my comfort zone, my what we would call human consciousness, my ability to see more. And imagine that expanding outward and outward and outward. And at some point we recognize, as Reverend Jones said, that the universe is within us. The universe is us. This universe within us also has those infinite numbers, but I've placed my circle of mediocrity and I can only see 6 or 7. So with that, I want to also offer something really fascinating to me regarding the 5 senses and reality. I don't know if you're all aware of the flat earth movement that's happening. As I say, the flat earth movement is spreading around the globe. Spreading around the globe. So I found a documentary about flat earthers and I was fascinated. I wanted to see and hear how they could have that perspective. And it came down to something profoundly simple. You can see it, it's flat. It's obviously flat. I can see it. And I fell into this place of open-hearted compassion. Because the world does look flat. It looks flat. Or it looks, but it doesn't really look round. And then they say something like, okay, now imagine what the conspiracy has taught us. Because they're into the conspiracy that the government has created a lie about the globe, that we're spinning at this speed and we're being whirled through the universe. And they say, obviously that can't be true. I don't feel that. I can't touch it, taste it, feel it. It must not be real. Now, in closing, what I want to offer is, in what way do you have a flat earth belief? Are you holding a belief of, well, I see it, so it must be true? Obviously that's true, because there it is. Or is there a possibility that the human eye can't see the infinite possibilities? The human ear can't hear the infinite possibilities. The human voice can't even speak the infinite possibilities. And yet some of us called ministers attempt to do that. Try to put words to the infinite. And the infinite is beyond words, it's beyond sight, it's beyond hearing. So is there a situation in your life that is a flat earth situation? Is there something that you've been seeing and saying, see, it keeps happening over and over and over again? And eventually I say, wow, I'm the common denominator here in all of these relationships. I keep noticing. I guess that's wisdom, right? And I think it comes with a certain age. Well, I'll speak for myself. It came at a certain age for me when I recognized that every relationship I was having had this thread of similarity. Every job I ever took had this thread of similarity. That was my flat earth experience, because I had some core beliefs and ideas about my own worthiness and lovability. So as we break those agreements with mediocrity, we simply step into the fullness and the abundance, and we don't have to do anything at that point. The universe seems to respond. That's why we feel like we're attracting it, because it seems to respond. And the truth is, when I'm open and I'm tuning into the different frequencies, I recognize it's always been right there. It's always been available to me. Do you know you get to the other side of something and think, wow, it took me that long to figure it out? Well, yes, it did. And that is not only okay, it seems like the journey. the journey we've come here as these beautiful, infinite spiritual beings. We get programmed to believe we're not that. We have these agreements with our own mediocrity, and then we come into a place like Agape, and we think, oh God, are you kidding me?
Yes.
What I believe to be true is no longer true. And what I really know to be true is still the truth. The great undoing, the great remembering. So taking a moment to think of that flat earth situation in your life. And what I want to invite is what the Course in Miracles says, all I know is not all there is to know. So imagine that flat earth experience for a moment and repeat that. All I know is not all there is to know.
All I know is not all there is to know.
My beingness knows infinite possibilities.
My beingness knows infinite possibilities.
I release any idea of lack.
I release any idea of lack.
And step into my full abundance.
And step into my full abundance.
I radiate this abundance in the world.
I radiate this abundance in the world.
I be this abundance in the world.
I be this abundance in the world.
I am open to give and receive.
I am open to give and receive.
Because I know I am a powerful spiritual being.
Because I know I'm a powerful spiritual being.
And so it is.
And